bit heavier.
Race and Sex, the explosive show.
With a Latino woman, they want to be more intimate. They want to get to know.
They want to get pregnant. A black girl. They all have the same hair.
It's more hurtful because it's coming from you, a black man.
Caucasian women seem to go to bed with either a cash register or a meter.
Black women didn't want to show a funny-looking butt anyway.
It Only Tyra starts now.
There are so many cliches out there about what men want in their women based on race. And I know we all hear that the black men want the woman with the big booty. I mean, how many times do we hear that, right? Or that the white guys like women that are stick thin. But do these stereotypes really hold true? Today, we're going to find out as we continue our award-winning Focus on Race series. But this time, it's all about sex and attraction and race. Okay? Now check out the audience. To help further our conversation, we've divided them by racial lines. We have white, black, Asian, and Latino, all in different sections. And I want everyone to prepare yourselves because we're getting ready to get to the raw truth, and it won't always be pretty. We're going where no talk show has ever gone before, deep into the male mind of race and sex. We brought together Asian, African American, Caucasian, and Latino men. Ming and Zhang are Asian. Ming dates Asian women, but Zhang dates outside of his race. Pierre and Dulove are both African American. Pierre does not date African American women, but Dulove loves to date African American women. Mark and Joey are both Caucasian. Mark refuses to date Caucasian women, but Joey only dates within his race. Bobby and Jason are both Latino. Bobby does not date Latinas, but Jason prefers to date Latina women. For each part of the experiment, women of different ethnicities and of different shapes and sizes will stand in front of the men. They are wearing headphones, and even though they can see the men's expressions, they won't be able to hear a thing. The headphones are to make sure that the men do not censor their comments and that the women's reactions have no effect on the experiment. With the men seated and the women's headsets in place, it's time to begin our first experiment. Okay, I see the audience is rumbling. Going, oh my gosh, what have they gotten into now, the Tyra Show? Well, our first experiment on race is focusing on body size and what men of different races are attracted to. And it's time to meet the women we chose. And remember, the ladies cannot hear what the men are saying. They can't hear at all because they're listening to music in their ears. Check it out. We chose girls who resembled each body size: thin, medium, and thick. Our panel was asked to judge the girls based on which body type they felt the most attracted to. And as expected, the guys weighed in with some very different opinions. We began with an African-American woman, Adasia, who has a thin physique.
I like that. That's like more like an Asian girl's body, but you know, Asian girls they're not as tall.
She doesn't eat. Black girls eat. They eat when they're watching TV. They eat when they want to go out. She doesn't eat.
That's one thing we can agree with, because I think she's too skinny too, and I think white girls will eat more than she does.
No, you're crazy.
Yes, no,
white
sure.
girls want to look like that. Like,
No,
they
they
want to
don't.
throw up. White girls want to eat celery. She like she had carrots for breakfast.
Typically wouldn't picture a black woman having this body because stereotypically I think of black women as being a little bit heavier, more curvy, but this is definitely the body type I like.
If you had to rank, I think, the women by their shapes, you have that quote-unquote, sadly, Big Bertha, and those are usually big, you know, African-American women, but no matter what her shape, she's just a beautiful African-American woman who's in, to me, great shape.
Next, a Caucasian woman, Caitlin, who has a medium frame.
I think I still prefer kind of a smaller build. I think it's probably maybe easier to find a petite white woman than a petite black woman.
Most of the Caucasian women, white women I see are very plastic and very fake and don't take good care of themselves.
Pretty features overall, but her body's just a little too much for me. And not to be cruel, I mean, if she went in an exercise program or something, I mean, she looked great.
And lastly, an African-American woman, Jamil, who has a larger frame.
Oh, that's too much for me, man.
Asian guys wouldn't be able to handle that, but I could.
Man, let me tell you something. A black woman is versatile. They have skills, they have style. She know how to make this look sexy, and I think she is sexy. Look at her. She's bouncing little hips back and forth. White girls wouldn't even know what to do with that. White girls look fat. At the end of the day, a black girl still looks sexy.
I like her confidence, man, and I get that is
No, that's great.
That is the most attractive thing in a woman of color that she knows how to work them curves, man.
When each girl stood side by side, their size differences became more obvious, and the discussion turned into an outright argument.
Tragically, I think it's as much as the culture as anything. The things that African-American people can afford in this country, I mean, they have to buy lots of sugars, lots of meats, lots of fried food. You see the same thing with Latin American women.
That's racist.
You're gonna offend
I think
someone.
this guy's really
You don't go outside, buddy.
You make
I like
generalizations
African-American
about
women. I love
African-American
Latin
women
women.
not eating. Don't tell me that African-American Latino women, they're the way they are because they can't afford this and that. Brother, you're wrong.
I'm not going to speak if they're going to talk over me. I'm not going to get in a debate.
With me now are Ming and Zhang, our Asian guys, Pierre and Dulove, our African American guys, Mark and Joe.